Hello and welcome to Odds on Champions League match day 5 games on Wednesday. This is getting really interesting because only 3 games left. So there are some urgencies for some teams. And on Wednesday we have great classes. We have Arsenal Bayern Munich especially, or Atlético Madrid Inter. And here with me we have Alain Valnegri. Hello, Alain, Leo Bachanian, to give you the best insights,
Hello.
the best tips in this Wednesday. So stay with us. Let me know in the comments who are you backing. Don't forget, of course, press the like, subscribe. We are very close to 40K, if I'm not mistaken, subscribers. So join the channel if you enjoy our videos. And now let's go on with the show. Well, and we have 2 early kickoffs as always, and we start in the Parken Stadium, Copenhagen, Kairat. I was talking about urgencies, and these teams with 1 point is last chance. We don't expect Kairat to qualify, only 1 point. They are basically, they won the jackpot already qualifying for the Champions League, so we cannot ask them much more than what they are doing. The point was against Pafos at home and playing against 10 men, but perhaps, Alain, we should ask a little bit more. From Copenhagen, only 1 point, the one they got at home against 𝐬𝐵𝐿everkusen. They are slightly better when they are playing at home, so the bookies expect them to win. I also would expect them to win.
Yes, October and November was difficult for Copenhagen, and 2 months only 3 wins. They lose a lot of points in Danish Super League, but right now probably the FIFA break do a good thing. It was a good medicine for Copenhagen. Næstrup keep his job. And yesterday they won against Brugge, and the derby of the city in Copenhagen, really important to stay connected with the top 4 in Denmark already, and they need to win to stay connected with the dream to pass for the 18 final. Right now is difficult. They need to win. Probably away, the Kairat is one of the weakest team since the beginning of this Champions League. Copenhagen is an expert team, probably the most expert team in the last 15 years in Europe with a national team. And yes, Kairat Almaty is not in a very, very good moment in his local league too. But against Inter, they show they can be competitive and then improve a lot since respect to the first game in Lisbona. But I think Copenhagen is favorite. I choose Copenhagen winning with over 2.5 goals in the game, also 1.83.
Very difficult, in my opinion, Leo, to trust this Kairat. As I said, for them, every game is a joy in this Champions League.
Yes, absolutely, but I could trust them not to get trashed, and especially this Copenhagen at this to me does not give me any vibes that things will be very, very different as the way they were before the international break. Matchday 4 was a forgettable night for them in North London. Just an inch of hope, I thought. When Brennan Johnson got a red card in the second half, they were already 2-0 down. But, with 10 men, Tottenham, I thought, well, maybe now Copenhagen will score and it's game on. And in the end, the one who scored again was Tottenham. For me, with these 3 games losing in a row in this Champions League, they are almost out. I mean, or at least their chances to making it to the playoff are hanging by a thread, because the best possible scenario for them is to finish with 10 points, which will require to win 3 out of the last 4. Kairat, Villarreal, and Napoli, they This is the 3 games they must win before they face Barca in the last one. And Kairat, yes, I agree with you. With Alain, of course, they are happy already to be in the competition and to be competing. And so far, they have done it. Yes, was the 4-1, as Alain mentioned, in Lisbon on Matchday 1, but after that, it's been all right. Yes, of course, Real Madrid 4-0 at home. They competed for 55-60 minutes. In San Siro, they done it even better than with Real Madrid. Carlos Augusto scoring the second one with 25 minutes to go. In the first half, they forced Sommer to some saves. They equalized. Actually, when they equalized, it was the first goal that Inter conceded in this Champions League. They're going to be closing the league stage away at Arsenal. So if they're going to win their first win ever in the Champions League, they have to do it, or they can do it, why not, or they can dream to do it with Copenhagen, Olympiacos, or Club Brugge at home. Of course, Copenhagen is the favorite here. I just don't see why this time the odds on Kairat should be at 10. I won't trust them to win, but my take here is at least not for them not to get thrashed. Kairat Asian handicap plus 1.5, odds of 1.95.
Well, against Inter, it would be a successful bet. Actually, this one, they didn't get thrashed. Probably 2 teams that are not going to qualify, not even for the playoffs. Next one is Pafos, Monaco, and these 2 teams right now are in the playoffs, both with 5 points. It's a big surprise. Pafos is a debutant in this Champions League, and as I said, they have 5 points because they grabbed a historical win against Villarreal, doing good things with 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜 as a manager. And Monaco, in a sensitive moment this season, is a bad moment for Monaco. They were thrashed in the league, and they are not in a good run. In Europe, they are slightly better. For instance, they grabbed a point against Man City, but the news for Monaco were the return of Pogba. Leo, back to football pitches.
Yes, absolutely. I think that was the only positive take from Saturday after the trash away with runs. I don't know. I would like to hear what's Alain's view on Pogba, how they are seeing the return of Pogba in France. But of course, no one, or at least myself, I don't know, I'm not expecting Pogba to be the one that was next to Pirlo and Arturo Vidal in that amazing midfield in Juventus. But it's always good to see him playing some football, and for sure he's gonna leave some highlights from now till the end of the season. Monaco and Pafos, some of the biggest surprises on Matchday 4. Pafos winning against Villarreal, Monaco getting the 3 points away against Bodo. First win ever in the Champions League proper for Pafos. After the game, a friend texted me saying that I was a bit harsh with Pafos in our previous show when recapping their defeat at home with Bayern. The numbers, in fairness, say that Pafos have lost just 1 game against, in this Champions League in 10 games this season, including, of course, the qualifiers. The hero was Derry Lucassen, the Dutch defender. In 10 seasons as a professional, he scored 8 goals. And for sure, that header against Villarreal is so far his most important one. The other hero probably 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐻𝐼 Michal, the goalkeeper, because Villarreal had a bulk of chances during the game. And if there is a space for a third hero, that should be Juan Carlos Carcedo, their manager. 2 years with them, 1 cup, 1 league title, knockout stages of the Conference League, and now this first ever win in the Champions League proper for them. For a team that is just 10 years old, founded in 2014, is massive that they can create even bigger memories on Matchday 5. They must focus, I believe, on Wednesday and then on Matchday 8 at home with the Slavia Prague. With those 2, if they win, could make it to 11 points. And you can start thinking, why not, of a playoff spot. Of course, it's easier said than done. Monaco is a favorite here, even with the irregularity they are involved. Before winning in Norway, they lost at home with Paris FC. After winning in Norway, they were trashed 4-1 by Lens, and now another defeat on this weekend. Pafos kept 6 clean sheets in their last 9 UEFA competition matches. Monaco is at the back of 2 consecutive clean sheets in the Champions League, Tottenham and Bodo. So my take here is goals under 2.5, odds of 2.33.
Well, Alain, I was asking you in our league and video about 𝐿𝐿 and his job in Monaco, another defeat, an ugly defeat. So I'm asking you again about 𝐿𝐿, about this Monaco, and about Pogba, as Leo was asking you as well.
Probably they have a problem in the vestiary, because when do you analyze the game in Champions League and the game in Ligue 1, we have 2 different teams, totally different. And yes, 𝐿𝐿 arrived here after his brilliant job in Belgium with Saint-Gilloise. The vestiary, yes, is totally different. I trust in Monaco. In Europe, in Ligue 1, we saw a team. I don't know what is the problem, because the team is built to fight for Champions League spot, clearly, but 8 goals in the last 2 games, and 3 defeats in the last 3 games in Ligue 1. Something strange passed in Monaco. Maybe the team was with 𝐬𝐿𝐴 and don't accept 𝐿𝐿, because 𝐿𝐿 arrived with a fresh idea, an interesting model of play, adapt to this team. Now, against a team like Pafos, Pafos defend really well. Leo said 6 clean sheets in the last 9 game. In Europe, we saw only Bayern can be scored against Pafos since the beginning of the Champions League. And against Villarreal, against Olympiacos in Athens, it was a surprise to see them catch point. But I trust in Monaco, in the sense of, in my opinion, Monaco will lose this game. I choose double chance 𝐿𝐴 with under 3.5 goals in the game, odds 1.19.
Well, and now the best game we have in this week in Europe, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, perhaps the best 2 teams in Europe right now, according to the bookies. Right now, these are the 2 favorites also to win the Champions League, both with a perfect record, 12 points. Arsenal without conceding. We saw them winning in the Premier League in the derby, and that was a huge step forward towards the title, with Eze as the star. But no matter who is playing for Arsenal, this is a rock-solid team. And for Bayern Munich, it's kind of the same. They already had a very tough game in the Champions League against PSG, and we were waiting to see how this team were going to perform against the European champions, and they won that game. So, Alain, this game is, I wouldn't say it's important for the table, because these 2 teams will qualify as a top 8, but I think it's going to be good to see where they are toe-to-toe now in November, still far away from March or April, but I think if we check the squads, if we check the teams, these are, for me, without any doubt, the best 2 teams in Europe.
Yes, in the table in Champions League, both are in the top with Inter, the only team won every game since the beginning of this Champions League. Who is the most clinical? Because who defend better between both teams? Because we saw since the beginning of the season, probably with that analysis, in my opinion, Arsenal have something more. Arsenal, respect to the last season, improve more without the ball. I think 𝗀𝗵𝗫 is one of the key signing in the last summer, and Arsenal have a lot of solution. Arteta give a mentality, a really strong mentality, because Arsenal can be play a football champagne, but can be play like a team really defensive, really aggressive. Arsenal is able to change his scheme during the game, with the ball, without the ball. When I saw Arsenal, I saw a lot of solution, direct play, positional attacking football. Bayern, I have doubt about Bayern for that capacity to change his skin during the game. And the answer with Bayern is always the same, every season the same, is in Champions. It's true, Bayern during since September until December is always the best period for Bayern in Champions League, but right now they don't lose this season. Bayern in Bundesliga, the gap with another team is really marked, and that one is the test. But I trust more in Arsenal because Arsenal have more key, are more solution, have more deepness in the bench, and for that reason I choose Arsenal winning odds 2.26.
Well, Leo, perhaps Arsenal is the best one defending. Bayern are the best one attacking, or better attacking than Arsenal. But this is a great game. Of course, Harry Kane also back to the Emirates. All the ingredients to be a great clash.
Absolutely, and there is a game of contrast because Arsenal, the team that haven't conceded a single goal yet, Bayern, the team that has scored the most with 14, Arsenal, the team that conceded the least also in the Premier League, and Bayern, the team that has 14 more goals than the next best scoring team in the Bundesliga. Harry Kane, as you mentioned, returning to North London, and he knows one or two things about scoring against Arsenal. In the Champions League 2 seasons ago, he scored in North London in the quarterfinal against Arsenal in that 2-2. The other one was scored by Gnabry, and it was Bukayo Saka and Trossard, the one scoring for Arsenal. This Arsenal, to be honest, is doing better and better by the week, and sometimes the games after the international break could be a little bit tricky, because the players have trouble from far, or some of them, and then it's difficult to ask them straight away after they train 1 day or 2 maximum after they return to play with the same intensity as before the break. And what Arsenal has done against Tottenham in the derby on Sunday afternoon night was just amazing. It wasn't just the 4-1, it was the intensity, how they play, how direct they were at many times. The press was relentless. Tottenham didn't know how to build from the back. It was impossible. How many duels Arsenal won? It's just absolutely impressive. Merino playing as a false 9, dropping like if he was Odegaard to the right-hand side to be next to Saka, and then Eze occupying the number 9 position, and Eze scoring a hat-trick actually from a number 9 position. It was just amazing. Trossard doing diagonal from outside to the inside to finish as well as a number 9, as with the first goal. They lost Gabriel Magalhães, which was massive for them because Gabriel is the best defender they have. It was huge, but they can replace him with Piero Hincapié, the best left center back in the Bundesliga the previous 2 seasons. I was thinking, okay, it's going to be Mosquera or Hincapié, the one replacing Magalhães, because up to here it was Mosquera, the one with more minutes after Saliba or Gabriel. And I think because Piero Hincapié is a left-footed center half, Arteta chose him, and he's done very well against Tottenham on Sunday night. So yes, I believe and I agree with Alain. Arsenal is a favorite here, but I will be going for individual markets in here. And despite Arsenal being the best defense in the Premier League, and despite they haven't conceded a single goal in the Champions League so far, Harry Kane is different. For me, my take here is Harry Kane to score anytime at 2.63. I could think I could even go as well for a both team to score yes at this stage in this game with Arsenal at 1.63. Bukayo Saka has scored 8 goals in the last 10 group league stage games in the Champions League. So for Saka to score anytime is 3.1. But again, my one is Harry Kane to score anytime, 2.63.
Well, here we should take a look at the smart bet, the Oddspedia AI, and they are going for Bayern Munich. Actually, double chance. Bayern Munich is the bet, 1.72. And then with a lower confidence rating, Bayern Munich full-time result 3.2, or first half result, Bayern to win 3.7. So the smart bet supercomputer are back in Bayern Munich. They are the underdog. Arsenal are favorites, really favorites, 2.3 for this game. And we haven't seen anything bad also from Bayern Munich this season, even able to win at the Parc des Princes. So it's not a bad idea backing them. I remember we didn't back them actually when we were analyzing PSG Bayern Munich. I think not even Ronald in this case. And at the end, they won brilliantly. So I think also we should give a lot of credit to Vincent Kompany, especially a manager that we had our doubts when he landed from Burnley. Well, another great game is Atlético de Madrid Inter. Here the bookies place Atlético as favorites, and well, they are in a great run at the moment. Last year was the same. Actually, in November is kind of their month until the end of the season. 5 consecutive wins in all competitions. Ugly one still, as the one we saw against Getafe, but this game is very important for Atletico to qualify, to win, and qualify for the top 8. Right now they are out with 6 points, and Inter lost the derby, lost the leadership in Italy in the Derby de la Madonnina. But Leo, it was not deserved. Actually, Mike Maignan was the best goalkeeper, and one of the problems of Inter is in the big games this season. They are not winning them.
Yes, Edwin, and I agree that this is not going to define at all Inter going into the next stage, into the last 16, because they're going to be there. But going into this game after what happened in the derby makes things different, especially about the debate on Christian Chibu, because that debate on him is on again in Italy. And because of what you said, the big games. And yes, it's true with the Milan first half, Maignan saved one against Lautaro, which was, I thought it was going in. They hit the post as well, and then the penalty that Maignan saved to Çalhanoğlu. So with all this, you think, okay, 1 point should have been the fair result in the Derby de la Madonnina, but still, it was a big game, and Inter didn't take anything. As well, I'm a little bit concerned that there was no plan B yesterday. No ways of breaking, in the second half, no ways of breaking Milan's wall for Inter. And that is a scenario we're going to see on Wednesday, because Atletico will wait and trying to catch them in transition with Giuliano, Nico Gonzalez, Llorente, Julian. I don't know why Simeone used 5 substitutions against Getafe, and none of them was the introduction of Thiago Almada. There must be something probably with his fitness. Otherwise, Atletico, I think, needs Thiago for creativity, and he is someone who can crash the box too, coming from behind. Julian is a little bit deflated at the moment, and he looked like that against Getafe. But in the Champions League, he's showing who he is. 9 goals in 13 Champions League games for Atletico. He scored 8 in 17 when playing for City. There will be a focus, I believe, as well on Julian against Lautaro. If I couldn't understand why Thiago did not come in with Getafe, I could understand even less than she would talk Lautaro off when he was chasing the equalizer. He finished the game with Thuram, Boni, and Esposito, but did not create anything. I do believe Atletico is a favorite here, and I will take those odds. My take, Atletico to win 2.33.
A little bit of history also between these two teams. In 2024, Atletico won in penalties when Inter were the favorites. Alain, was it painful, the defeat in the derby? Always a guess. Is 𝐬𝐭𝐴 also pointed out after the defeat, or it was a bit of bad luck?
I think they deserve to catch minimal a draw. They dominate most of part of the game. But you must score. You must score. You miss a penalty. Maignan was in a dream night. It's difficult to be critical with Inter today, because yes, they lose a big match, but they won in Roma against Roma, and right now the leader in Italy is Roma. Yes, I think Inter have, in this cycle, this generation of the team have one problem, and is a team have missed some connection or disappear from the game during 15, 20 minutes. And Kivu don't correct that. And Inzaghi had lose 2 Scudetti with that problem. And Kivu is difficult because Kivu wants to start another cycle with young player and build something new. And we don't saw nothing new. In tactical aspect, Inter is the same. And this is a team play with irism, with a direct football, with a lot of passion, with a lot of powder, and arrive with a high frequency in the last 20 meters to the rival. Now against Atletico is the worst team Inter can meet right now, because Inter suffer in transition, because in the defensive line, when they must to run away, is not so fast, and that one is one of the limit of the Inter. And the goalkeeper, Sommer yesterday, the goal, in my opinion, he can do something more. And yes, Atletico feel really comfortable against that type of team. Atletico in the last 3 years is the only team eliminate Inter in a Champions League playoff, the only. And I think that Atletico right now is difficult to play against Atletico. Atletico this season lose only against team from Premier League, in Liverpool, in against Arsenal, and at the beginning against Espanyol in August. But the season is so interesting this season. I like to see Atlético Madrid. It's not the classical Cholo Simeone team in Atletico with the low block. No, he has a lot of solution. Yesterday we saw the 11 start with another solution, another way of play, another position of the line, and yes, that one make me choose like Leo Atletico winning odds 2.39.
Okay, you both agree. Also, this game is more important for Atletico than for Inter in the table again. Atletico chasing the top 8 and going in a good run this season. Next one is Eintracht Frankfurt Atalanta. Really interesting game. This one with Eintracht only 4 points, but getting back-to-back wins in the Bundesliga. In Europe, they've been fragile despite the draw in Napoli. The only win came at home against Galatasaray. And Atalanta, 7 points in the Champions League, doing much better in Europe than in Italy. Alain, new manager, but another defeat.
Yes, and the first 45 minutes was not a huge team. It was like Atalanta was fighting against relegation, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Yes, this team, something in the mentality changed in Bergamo, because the team have a lot of quality. When do you analyze the squad, you never rely on Atalanta have talented player, expert player, and yes, we can ask us, but is Gasperini was what happened? Because the ambition was totally different at the beginning of the season. In Bergamo, they're really humble and they never publish his ambition. But Atalanta in Italy with Napoli is the only team can spend 100 million of euro without have some debt. Is the management in Atalanta is perfect, and is a big team in his financial dimension right now. Atalanta is a big team, but to stay high, the high position is always dedicated, is difficult, and this season they made a mistake with 𝐬𝐿, and now with Palladino we need to wait a little, because Palladino is not Arrigo Sacchi or a big of the Italian culture of the manager. Don't change he can't change, and we saw that, and we understand in Napoli Conte in the first half dominate Palladino clearly. Eintracht Frankfurt, when they played at home, normally is a team, really electrical team. They're super when they need to attack low block Eintracht, because it's a running team. When Eintracht found a team want to play with high pressure, with take risk, with Eintracht, the Eintracht game are really funny. And in Napoli, I was surprised about that skills to change totally his skills and defense with a low block. Probably against Atalanta, the team will be adopt that type of situation most of part of the sequence of the game. But in spite of that, in my opinion, is a goal market game. I choose over 2.75 goals, odds 1.18.
Well, the smart bet is going for the opposite, actually. We can see goals under 3.5 is the top tip, 1.5. Leo, I guess you also didn't like the debut of Palladino.
No, first half already 3-0 done. Was one to forget. I guess it was a dream for Palladino that his debut was coming in his hometown of Nápoles, but a nightmare performance. He used a false 9 in his debut, but everything got a little bit better when in the second half with the 𝐬𝐭𝐴 as a reference, he scored and got chances to make it 3-2. Anyway, we have to say, of course, that Palladino got a full squad only for the first time in training on Thursday. So we cannot make any conclusions yet, although I believe Frankfurt is a slightly favorite here. No surprise, we had another goal-scoring weekend for them in the Bundesliga, winning away in Cologne, and another weekend in which they show their strength and the weaknesses. They won 4-3, at some point they were 4-1, and they ended up suffering in the game. A team that has scored 27 times in 11 games in the Bundesliga, but have conceded 22. And as I said, 3 of them on Saturday. Since the thrashing defeat with Liverpool at home on Matchday 3, they won 3 and drew 3 in all competitions. And one of those draws, the one that you guys was mentioned, the 0-0 at the Diego Armando Maradona. This is a must-win for them to make a case for the playoff position, being now 23rd in the table. The contrast with the Eintracht is clear as well for Atalanta, because they scored only 14 goals this season in Serie A. Goals market for me here is like with Alain. I expect goals here. Goals market over. My take is both teams to score yes and goals over 2.5. These two together, odds of 2.58.
Well, with Frankfurt, we usually see goals, indeed, both in Europe and in the Bundesliga. 3-4, for instance, this weekend in Cologne. Next one, drama at Anfield. Was the worst defeat for Liverpool against a team in relegation spots. The one we saw on Saturday against Nottingham Forest. People are already looking at Arne Slot because there are no solutions from the bench. No one is working. Perhaps Szoboszlai, but it's changing also positions. So it's a lot of question raised about this Liverpool. The signings are not working. Look at 𝐜𝐿𝐧𝐧𝐬𝐿 is out. The defense, especially Konate, 𝗀𝗀𝗃 are so bad, so we can keep going, Leo, with the problems. And now Arne Slot's PSV also going back, the Dutch team, 5 points, still with options to qualify, and they are doing great in the Eredivisie. They smashed Napoli, so they could be dangerous.
Yes, absolutely, Edu. And at this moment, some are saying it's not Arne Slot, it's Arne Slout. To be honest, in Liverpool, Saturday was the bleakest afternoon in his era. I mean, how many times in the last few years you have seen Liverpool? You can remember seeing thousands of Liverpool supporters leaving Anfield 15 minutes before the end of the match. One thing is to be defeated clearly by Manchester City away as before the break, but completely different to be thrashed by Nottingham Forest that started the day just one place off the bottom in the Premier League. They are on a mess, Liverpool. They are vulnerable at the back, defending mistakes more likely to see in a relegation battle team than in Liverpool. They are lacking football in midfield. They are toothless in attack. It's 8 defeats in the last 11 in all competitions. There is no wonder why. For some, it's difficult to see Arne Slot making it to Christmas at this with this run. There is no cohesion in the team. But the worst is the lack of fighting spirit. I'm not saying just this. It was Virgil van Dijk saying this after the game. Something is broken, I believe, behind closed doors in that squad, either between the players or between the players and the manager, or both. The 3-0 with Forest was Liverpool's worst Premier League home defeat since Manchester City won 4-1 at Anfield in February 2021. They are very easy to play through. Konate's level you mentioned has plummeted big time. Van Dijk is also a shadow of himself, but I don't think it's just a case of one individual performance. It seems that it looks like the structure is in absolute pieces. But even if Konate deserves to be dropped, your option is 𝐬𝐭𝐵 or Endo or Gravenberch as a makeshift center back. It's a little bit ridiculous for a Premier League champion to be in that position. Isak touched the ball 15 times all the game, the fewest of any starting player. Salah is far from his best, but it's something that we could have expected after year delivering for Liverpool. It's going to get worse before it gets better, it looks like. And maybe for some, PSV cannot trouble them, but after all, because after all, this is a Liverpool side that won against Real Madrid 3 weeks ago. But I have a different view. I think that PSV can smell the blood for sure. 11 wins and 1 draw in 13 games in the Eredivisie. In this league stage, they corrected a bit their way after the defeat with Union Saint-Gilloise. Pepe's goal on added time in Athens was crucial for them for their playoff hopes and chances. My take is PSV Asian handicap plus 1.75. Odds of 1.85.
So many problems for this Liverpool. Leo mentioned the game against Real Madrid, probably was the best one this season, but it looks like Arne Slot has no clue also, Alain, on what to touch to improve this team. The only positive I mentioned is 𝐬𝐭𝐵 and 𝐬𝐭𝐴, but then he was on the bench because, of course, you have to put Isak after all the money spent.
Yes, but in Champions League, the balance is not so bad. Because they beat Atlético, they beat Real Madrid, clearly winning in Frankfurt. Yes, they're losing Galatasaray 1-0, but that one was an accident. The problem is in Premier League, especially with the defense. 20 goals received in 12 games. But at the beginning of the season, we saw Liverpool won a lot of games in the extra time, and when that disappear, the team don't have any solution. And I don't know if the pressure about the price that they pay for the new signing affect the team, but something is going wrong clearly. And we don't must it to wait the game against Nottingham. We saw that against City. I think against City, we understand the no grade of competitivity of Liverpool. And in the last 10 years, Liverpool was the team played best against Manchester City and compete best. And yes, Lot is in a really weak position right now. We are not in the vestry. We don't know what the vestry feel at this moment. I think Slot is living what normally a manager live when you substitute a trainer like Klopp. Like the last season was not a normal season. When do you change a manager with that success? Normally you have 3, 4, 5 years with a lot of difficulty to build to find the manager. Slot made a brilliant season in especially in Premier with the title nobody expect that. Yes, I think in Champions League we saw the best version of Liverpool. PSV is really dangerous because PSV, since the beginning of October, find his rhythm, his dimension, his key player. 𝐬𝐵RI is playing is really well. He's a brilliant player. Probably the next season will be see him in Premier League. I don't choose 1x2 for this game. I choose both teams to score with over 2.5 goals, odds 1.77.
Well, let's see if 𝐼𝐸 is able to turn around the situation. Then we go to Athens, Olympiacos, Real Madrid, and I guess we can say something similar about Xabi Alonso. It's true that Real Madrid are still top of the table in Spain. They are in the top 8 in Europe, but it looks like something is broken. It looks like the dressing room is not with Xabi Alonso. It's the third game without a win. And not only that, is that they are playing really bad, and it looks like every game is even worse at Anfield against Rayo, and on Sunday in Elche. It looks like the stars are not with Xabi Alonso, and Alain, it looks like Xabi Alonso has no clue on what to do because he changed the system, he changed the team slightly with Elche, but no player is delivering. And of course, many people, many fans are already looking at Xabi Alonso and his decisions. He promised some pressure, another kind of football, and is fading away with the games.
But in Real Madrid, it's difficult to be tactical manager. When we check the last 30 years in the bench, who won? The management of the vestry is not the tactical manager. Don't stay a lot of time in Madrid, and yes, a lot of voice about the relationship between the vestry and the player. He lose a key player like Vinicius. Clearly, Vinicius is not the most intelligent person in the world, but in my opinion, Vinicius, when he's fit and he showed that, is one of the most dominant striker. When he play with his kids, when he stay well, he's confident. With Ancelotti, we saw a version of Vinicius amazing, and it's one of the key. We don't in the midfield without Kroos. In my opinion, in Madrid, nobody replace Kroos. And when you have that type of dynasty, when do you try to be put pressure with the tactical way with the player is not the good way, and the history speak about that for Real Madrid. It's curious because after Barcelona, the brilliant winning against Valencia, everybody said yes, the cycle of Xabi Alonso start. Now he's consolidated, and it's 3 games. The bench in Madrid is burning always. Yeah. And we wait a reaction in Greece, in a field always difficult because we know the passion in Greece, the stadium of Olympiacos. You have the fans really need to the player, and Real Madrid will be play against a team with a manager who known really well Real Madrid, because Mendilibar the last season is probably the manager stay the longer time in the bench in Olympiacos, and he's working well. He's working really well. Since the beginning of the season, we saw good version of Olympiacos, except in Barcelona, but I think the score is a little lying because until the player was sent off, Olympiacos was in the game, able to score a good game, a serious game in London against Arsenal, leader in his local league. No pressure for Olympiacos. In spite of that, I think Real will catch point. I choose double chance X2 with both teams to score, odds 1.95.
Well, and even in Barcelona, they had their chances after the penalty, after the red card that you mentioned. Leo, a lot of problems for Real Madrid, and this game is very important also for the standings since they lost already Liverpool and they have Man City next.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely, and that's why I believe they're going to step up this time in Athens and get back to winning ways after that defeat in Anfield. 𝗵𝗍, Valverde, Camavinga, all were in the bench against 𝐿𝐵. I believe they will start in Athens. And the 1-0 in Anfield, I think, reignited that night some doubts on Xabi Alonso in the big games. And that was followed then by the draws you mentioned, the 0-0 against Rayo, which was the first back-to-back in games without scoring since May 2023 for Madrid. And actually, in attack, they have a bless and a problem because Mbappe has scored 18 goals in 17 games, nearly 50% of Real Madrid's goals this season. But at this same stage of last campaign, 𝗵𝗍 was the one that provided the highest proportion, but that was just almost 30% of Real Madrid's goals, and Mbappe had 25% of last season in that share. And now this season, 𝗵𝗍 is the second high scorer of Real Madrid, but with only 5 goals, and he hasn't scored or provided an assist in 6 consecutive games. Bellingham, of course, with all the problems with injuries, not yet the player that scored 23 goals in his first season at Real Madrid, although in October he scored consecutively against Juventus, Barcelona, Valencia, and now with 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 he scored as well the equalizer. Then you have the case of Rodrigo, who had a very good international break with Brazil, very good performances against Senegal and Tunisia, but it's alarming for him that half of the minutes he had this season were with the national team. Olympiacos, yes, arriving here winless after 4 games. For sure, they thought they had the 3 points in hand against PSV before Pepe scoring in the dying moments. Both games at home for them have been draws, Pafos and PSV, and that could be very costly for them. But even though those were winnable games for them, after Real Madrid, they will face Kairat, Ajax, and Leverkusen. So it is not all over for them. Some chances remain, even if, as I believe, Real Madrid will win on Wednesday. That's my take, is Real Madrid to win, combined with Mbappe to score anytime. These two together, odds of 2.1.
Well, the bookies are not the bookies, but Smart Bet is going for double chance here for 1x, 3.13 for Olympiacos, considering the bad moment of Real Madrid, 1.4 Real Madrid to win. I want to highlight also Rodrigo's moment. Last goal was in March in the Champions League. Last goal in La Liga was in January. And we are talking about a Real Madrid attacker with absolutely no credit, I think, among the fans for sure. Well, and one of the other games, great games on Wednesday, we have a great Wednesday evening in Europe, is PSG. Tottenham is always a joy to watch PSG. They won at the weekend, but Luis Enrique put a lot of non-habitual players, let's say. We saw 𝐿𝐵𝐴, we saw Ramos, still the team won, and of course they are big favorites here. They want to avenge the defeat against Bayern Munich, against Spurs. They started the season better, I would say, than the moment they are right now with the new manager, with Thomas Frank. They are doing better away from home than at home, Leo, but after the poor performance at the Emirates, I cannot see them also bouncing back in Paris. And of course, I want to highlight the goal scored by Richarlison. It goes directly to the 𝗍𝗏𝗀 trophy.
Yes, absolutely. It was a wonder one from almost halfway line. And to be honest, at some point I was thinking we should see more of those goals, especially with teams like Arsenal that they play with the goalkeeper.
We saw in La Liga another one with Real Sociedad. Actually, this
well, there you go. So I think it's going to start being less and less uncommon, this type of goals, or the goalkeepers are going to start being closer to the goal, something that probably they should do at first because it's their priority. It's never a good moment to lose a derby, but to be trashed against your fiercest rival before facing PSG can never be a good thing for Tottenham. One of the worst performances I've seen from Tottenham in years, and they had some very bad ones last season with 𝗵𝗂 or even with Mo or Nuno Espírito Santo years back. They went with 3 at the back for the first time this season under Frank. They were never able to build from the back because the press from Arsenal was relentless. When they went long, they did not win a single duel. I mentioned that before with Arsenal. The lack of creativity is alarming in this Tottenham. The player they wanted to solve that with James Maddison injured was Morgan Gibbs-White. That was the first choice. And then 𝐬𝐵𝐴. Morgan Gibbs-White scoring in Anfield on the weekend, 𝐬𝐵𝐴 scoring a hat-trick against Spurs, and the player they overpaid because they could not land 𝐬𝐵𝐴 or Morgan Gibbs-White, Xavi Simons, is not even starting. It's true that Simons is not having a great start as a Tottenham player, but against Copenhagen in the 4-0 win on Matchday 4, he had his best match so far. So I don't understand why he was dropped for a Clásico, for a derby against Arsenal. Thomas Frank cannot repeat the fiasco of 3 at the back with Danso, Romero and Van de Ven. It was strange to see Porro not also starting. Strange that Lucas Bergwall is also not a starter. If Spurs lost as many duels with PSG as with Arsenal, they will be heading for another thrashing defeat. And to get things even worse for them, PSG needs to win. They need to get back to winning ways after the defeat with Bayern. Was the first defeat since that defeat with Marseille in September for PSG. Playing at home, they have scored 17 times in 8 matches in all competitions. I can't even use the European Super Cup in August to believe in something different from Spurs in Paris. My take here is PSG to win, combined with goals over 2.5. These two together, odds of 2.
Well, Alain, with the absentees or with the second team, PSG won, and they are much better than Tottenham. I don't think it's going to be similar to the game we saw in August.
No, and there must Luis Enrique want a reaction. The message is clear. The most important is the champions. And Dembélé normally is back for this game. That lose against Bayern, and know Luis Enrique, the greater competitivity as the technical, the manager from Gijón. Yes, PSG right now, when PSG can play with his midfield, with Vitinha, Neves, and Fabian Ruiz, in my opinion, is top 3 in this Champions League. With Arsenal and Bayern Munich, I don't saw best team like this 3. Yes, there will be take seriously the game. Another thing affect the team is clearly the injury of 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐻𝐿, because 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐻𝐿 have a strong impact in this team in both phases, with the ball, without the ball. And the question is, how about Tottenham? Because November is dramatic for Tottenham, except the game against Copenhagen is really negative. After a good beginning with Frank in the bench, in my opinion, the team is not built with the needed of the team, because they buy a lot of offensive players, but he play only 3 players can play. And when do you have player want to stay always in the 11 start to don't play, like Xavi Simons, like Colomwani? That one affected a lot the vestiary. After, if Palhinha or Betancourt catch cold, who is playing there? Maddison is out, like Leo said. Yes, I think it's bad. The bad building of Paratici this summer is don't work well with a lot of money, and this team need leadership in the midfield, in the defense, and they don't have that. And that one probably Tottenham will play any European competition the next season, because the competitivity in Premier, we know, check Aston Villa don't start well, but check Aston Villa where is, because they have clear idea, and seasons are really, really long. For that reason, I think PSG, we will see the best version of PSG, especially in the offensive way. For that reason, I choose the market of goal over 3.25 goals, odds 2.00.
Was a pity also seeing Maddison getting injured, a very important player for Tottenham. Really few options for the Spurs there. And the last game is Sporting Bruges. Here, Sporting Portugal really favorites, 1.77 points in this Champions League. They won both games at home and grabbed a positive draw in Torino in the last game. Bruges, 4 points, so both have options to play in the next round, at least in the playoffs. We saw also a great Bruges, Alain, at home playing against Barcelona, but away lost both games against Bayern and Atalanta.
Is the limit of Bruges in Europe. This since the beginning of the season in Jupiler League 2, that lose the point when they played away. At home, they won every game except the game against Football Club Barcelona. Yes, it's classical. With Bruges, when they played away, they lose a little the competitivity. I don't know what happened, because when they played at home, Bruges is competitive against every team. Against Barcelona, they deserve to win the game. At the end of the game, they scored a goal with Vermont, and that one meaning a victory against Football Club Barcelona. Scored 4 goals. Against Sporting Sporting is balanced team with clear idea, with balance in the midfield. We know to defend with 8 players that can attack with some solution with 5 players. When they played at home, Sporting, since the beginning of the season, they lose only against Porto at the beginning of the Liga NOS. After that, we saw a Sporting with mentality, because against Olympique Marseille, it was not so difficult, so easy to change the results, in spite of Marseille stay with 10 players in the second half. But they have this mentality. Sporting right now is, I don't remember a Sporting with that European mentality and with that capacity to fighting against Oporto and Benfica during 3 or 4 seasons. And the project is done really, really well. In my opinion, Sporting is favorite. I choose Sporting double chance 1x with over 2.5 goals, odds 1.95.
Okay, Sporting to win is 1.75. Leo, your take?
My take here, I don't see it such one-sided as the bookies are pointing. I will go for a Club Brugge double chance here at 2.38. They are at the back of that great game of the 3-3 with Barcelona. The good news for Club Brugge is that there is no Lamine Yamal playing for Sporting Lisbon, because Lamine was amazingly good on that draw. Carlos Forbes scoring a brace, something that we haven't seen, for example, doing in England, where he's not very fondly remembered by Wolverhampton Wanderers supporters, where he was playing last season alone. Has 3 goals this Champions League. Sporting, of course, has a strong case for the playoffs with those 7 points. They're going to be playing Bayern Munich and PSG before they close with Athletic Bilbao at home. So I believe that between Athletic Bilbao and Club Brugge, they will need at the minimum 4 points, and then you're thinking they could be in a playoff spot position. Their life without Vítor Gyökeres has been better than I thought, at least for Sporting Lisbon. But that's my take in this Sporting Lisbon Club Brugge. Double chance for Club Brugge, 2.38.
All right, well, guys, this is it for our Champions League video. Remember that we have our tipster competitions going on, so a good opportunity to win some cash money completely for free. And don't forget also that we have rivals for you where you can create your own tipster competitions. Leo, your safe bet?
Eintracht Frankfurt, Atalanta goals over 2.5, a high safe bet, 1.67.
Alain?
PSG winning odds 1.42.
And the ACCA, Alain?
Copenhagen Kairat, Copenhagen winning with 2.5 goals. Eintracht Atalanta over 2.75 goals. Sporting Brugge 1x with over 2.5 goals, odds 5.42.
Okay, Leo?
My ACCA is Eintracht Frankfurt, Atalanta goals over 2.5, PSG to win, Harry Kane to score or to assist. These three together also 4.80.
Thank you, guys. Let's enjoy the Champions League. Great games on Wednesday. Great chance to make some money. Thank you, Alain. Thank you, Leo. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.